All right, hey everybody, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to the Comic Book Radio pre-show. And that's the show before the show. Is that confusing? Shouldn't be. All right, so the whole point of the show before the show, I talked about this yesterday, is that I get to talk to you guys for a little bit and give you an update on things here and there and wherever. We got Jeff D here. What's up, Jeff? We got Seer of All That Is Obvious. Doug35, how's it going? We got Lon here as well. S-Bird Militia. What's up, S-Bird? Andrew Campbell is here too. That's great. All right. We got a bunch of things going on today. Now, of course, we have our guests coming on very, very quickly. Well, soon. 12 minutes. Let's put up this here for a second. And that would be Marlena MIDNITE and Blake Powell from MIDNITE MAUSOLEUM. And, of course, this being Comic Book Radio episode 44. But I'll introduce them when they're actually on here in just a minute. I did want to touch base with you guys on a couple of things. So, for those that arrived here 15 minutes early, this is one of those things I want to talk about. So King Cryptid number 5 to 9. This is only on Indiegogo for this specific perk. Now this is on both Indiegogo and it's on Alternus site. But just so you guys know, this specific perk with the 5-minute sketch card is only on Indiegogo. There's not that many left. There's 12 remaining. There were 25 there to begin with. There's 25 in the add-on section. I think there's like 20 left, something like that. This is $25. You guys can pick and choose a card right here. There's one of 10 from the drop down. You guys can go pick that up. And that's just for a limited time and a limited availability. So what I mean by that is this is coming down regardless. It's coming down on August 8th, whether we sell out or not. Now, we might sell out before that point. So if you do want a sketch card, go pick it up. The link is in the description of the show. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and thank you guys for picking those up because you made us pass the 17K mark. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was, did anybody see the UFO? I hate saying UAP. The UFO hearing today? People everywhere are talking about it and saying how historic it was and how great it was. Maybe we saw two different things. I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was the same old. I thought it was just like, yeah, okay. So you got someone else in the long line of people to come on there, say the same thing everyone's heard, who's been paying attention for about 60 to 70 years. And a bunch of people in Congress act and behave. Let's hope they're acting and behaving as if they have no idea what the hell any of this is ever, and that it's ever happened before. Not like it's happened hundreds of times at all, in the same way, with the same story, in regards to the same kinds of people. And why this particular person? Why Grush? I mean, for a whistleblower, man, is he tight-lipped. Almost every response he had today with that hearing was, I can't really comment on that. Or I'll talk about that in closed sessions. Or I'm not at liberty to say publicly. What kind of whistleblower are you? Then he starts it off with, my life is being threatened by senior officials. Well, I mean, why? You're not saying anything unique. It's strange. They're talking about that whole Tic Tac thing that was back in 2004. Again, almost 20 years ago that occurred. And they're talking about it as if it never, is brand new. So I don't know. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see any of that? It's it reeks. So many people within the UFO community are just head over heels for it. And people that I listen to a lot, I respect, their viewpoints. They've done a lot of good research over the years. But, I mean, do they see something in it maybe that I don't? I don't know. All of it to me is just very strange. Very strange. Andrew says, didn't see it. It's probably a distraction for something else. It's it feels like a distraction or a precursor to something else. It doesn't feel like there's any, there's not going to be any disclosure. Not in the sense of any complete and full making sense disclosure. Because that's basically then the government and world governments admitting to illegal criminal activities over the decades. It opens up all of the other questions. So it's very strange that they go down this and they say, this, that, and the other thing, and you get a quote-unquote whistleblower. He's saying nothing different than hundreds of other people have said over the years. I can't even just say there's one person or two people. I can't even throw out just like a Bob Lazar or something. Hundreds of people. Hundreds. The average Unsolved Mysteries show had people saying the same thing. The average X-Files episode touched upon many of the same things. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I felt like getting that off my chest tonight. Hey, Beampad, what's up? Mighty Magic is here too. Doug says it's a hoax. I think, there's so much to it. There's so much to it. And to view it as kind of any sort of victory or historic thing today, it's strange. And we'll be getting started with the show in just a moment. We got AL here. What's up, AL? Lizello is here as well. I find also doing this 15 minutes before we start, because then we can give a full hour to the guests. It enables a lot of you guys to come in here because YouTube doesn't really give the greatest of notifications. So it's good. We get more of a full crowd before the guest is on here. We got Lizello saying, to AL. Dr. Matt says, I was listening to old Vincent Price radio shows. That was a better use of your time, believe me. Doug35, we were talking about UFO hearings. Yeah, I don't know if you guys had seen any of that at all. But man, oh man, some people were going, oh, it's still great. I didn't see anything great about it. The same dumb questions with the same slack-jawed looks and the same runaround. Spice just says, quite uneventful. Maybe it's a soft opening for the government to take it seriously, then investigations, then 5 years later they'll finally admit it. Yeah, if it's anything legitimate, it's setting the groundwork for something. What that something is, I don't know if we entirely want that to unfold. But it's something, all right. All right, let's see. Doug says, you can have your opinion. I won't refund. I appreciate that, Doug. I'm curious as to what your opinions are on the matter, because it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. The layers of it are strange. The responses are strange, and people getting excited about it who should know better. That's strange. That's really strange to me. Everything else that's happened today on that hearing, pretty much par for the course. The regular dog and pony show. But the people that should know better, kind of doing backflips over it. Spiking the football, being like, this is a victory. A victory of what? It's the same stuff. We just saw it happen in October. It was the same responses. Oh, well, we'll talk about that in closed sessions. Did those closed sessions ever occur? After that October meeting, it seems like all we got was this, and that's because that guy came out like a month ago and was a whistleblower saying there's craft retrievals and bodies and whatever else, and now he's saying there isn't any of that. Strange. Hey, Alex, what's up? We got Bobo here. Let's see, Dr. Matt says, Pete, ever read any of the Chariots of the Gods stuff? Yeah, Eric von Daniken, yeah. Chariots of the Gods, that's what the entire Ancient Alien series is based on. Eric von Daniken with that theory, and that's been around for a while. Yeah. All right. So looks like our guests are ready and raring to go. Speaking of aliens and horror and all these things from outer space, we've got MIDNITE Mausoleums, Blake Powell and Marlena MIDNITE. Now these folks are always supportive of Alterna. They're always in the chat. It's great to see them. But instead of them being in the chat tonight, they're finally going to be here on me, and I'm going to get to pick their brains on horror show hosting and basically everything else that is entailed running their show, their program over the years. And what better way to introduce them than with someone who would introduce them back in the day. Welcome.
Hello. Oh, hey, nice hat, Pete.
Hey, yeah. Good fashion sense.
Good shirt too.
Yeah, excellent.
How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing. Can you hear us and everything okay?
What was that? What was that last part that you said?
Oh, we were just asking if you could hear us okay.
Oh, yeah. We could hear you. We could hear you. Are you talking through a mic or are you talking through the computer?
Mic, but it's like sitting on the desk.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a mic
Okay.
that is sitting on our desk.
All right. Well, yeah, I could hear you. Everybody in the chat, can you hear them fine?
So
I
we
can hear them
we
fine.
can turn it up if you need.
If you want, turn it up a little bit. It's up to you. You know.
All right.
Yeah, it's good. You got the
Okay.
gain turned up.
Yeah. Yep, you're
All
coming
right.
through loud and clear. Hopefully we are.
All right. Yeah, you guys are sounding good.
Okay,
So, for those that don't know, like I said before, we got Blake Powell and we got Marlena MIDNITE here, and they are of MIDNITE Mausoleum. Tell us what's MIDNITE Mausoleum about? Where are you guys broadcasting out of? All that good stuff.
Oh, me?
Yeah,
Okay,
you.
all the boring stuff.
all the
Okay,
boring
well,
stuff is you.
actually, we're from Iowa, and we broadcast on WQAD, and it's a My TV affiliate that we run Saturday nights at 10 o'clock, and this is actually our 9th year there. Before then, we did the show on the internet and on public access or whatever. And that we started in 2009, so we've been doing that for a while. And we just got our official thing today that our local ABC affiliate will be running on Friday nights at 1:30, which is owned by the same company that owns our home station right now. So that's pretty good. And then we also run on WBXE 56.4 in Buffalo, New York. It's a good thing I remember all the numbers.
Yes.
And WRCT 18 in York, Pennsylvania on Friday nights. The time varies there, though. It isn't a set time slot like we have here.
Very nice. Congrats, man. You guys are you're expanding. How long has this been going on? Like, how long has the show been out there?
Since
2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Wow, man, oh man, congratulations.
Yeah, and those first up through 2013, we were just doing it on the internet and on a lot of public access stations. Actually, there were 60 of them across 24 states that we ran on. Actually, a lot of them in the Northeast, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, all up through there. Maine, a lot in Maine as well.
There's
But
nothing to do in Maine, I don't think, so they really need TV
apparently,
shows.
they really liked it. Yeah, that was one of the first places other than here that picked it up.
Well, it depends because once you get to northern Maine, it's humongous. Maine is huge. Most people don't really understand how big geographically Maine is, and so much of it is far more northern than most of the populated Canadian cities.
Mhm.
You know, and a lot of it's completely off the grid.
Yeah.
So good on you guys for bringing them some entertainment.
We do great where they're completely off the grid.
It's
So,
true. Got nothing
That's
else to
awesome.
do. We're here.
Yeah.
They're like, look at that. Television hasn't changed all that much.
It's true.
No.
Do you guys know if you broadcast anywhere in black and white?
Only if we do it on purpose.
Yeah.
We have had, I think for the episode where we ran Dark and Stormy Night, we did the whole episode in black and white.
And we did some pieces of Horror Hotel in black and white, I think.
Yeah, I think we might have done that too. But otherwise, it's only if we do it intentionally.
Yeah.
Or they still somehow have a black and white TV, which
I
who knows
guess.
if you do.
Yeah, if you somehow have a black and white TV that
I
would work.
wonder if there's any people out there that are your viewers that are maybe even putting the saturation all the way down to kind of watch it in this old school looking way.
I'm fine with it. Everything looks better in black and white. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
totally
like-
fine with it if you guys want to do that. You go right ahead.
It's
That's
like
great.
watching Blade Runner and turning the color saturation all the way down. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So this question is for Marlena. Have you always had an interest in horror?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Like, it was funny that you chose a little short from
Little Shop of Horrors.
because I've loved that movie since I was 3. So I guess kind of, but like not. My horror is kind of linear. I like older horror. I don't really like. I'm not a psychological horror person. I'm just kind of like a slasher monster horror person. So it's kind of linear. It doesn't really fluctuate much.
So like once it hits around like 85 to 87, you start to check out.
Yeah, pretty much. Like there's some new horror that I like that like kind of is like I watched. There's a newer movie called Fabric, I think it was called, and it was like a noir giallo type thing, and it was pretty cool, but not like a lot of it, not newer stuff, no.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me to get into a lot of the newer stuff because it feels kind of like it's always pulling its punches. It's either pulling its punches or it's showing you way too much to the point that you're just like, there's no story here. There's no characters. You know, it's just let's see how much gore and whatever we could do, gross out stuff. You know.
Yeah.
So with the horror that you seem to gravitate towards, would you say it's more around? Would it be more around the Universal Monsters era, or would it be more around like the Hammer films, or what?
Definitely, like those two things are separate to me, but I love them both. It just really depends on what I want to watch. Like, because, you know, like Dracula, is it 1979?
72.
72?
Yeah.
Like, or Escalfrio, or, you know, like, I'll be like, oh, I want some 70s horror. Or, you know, sometimes it's like, I just need something in black and white that's kind of chill. So it really just depends.
Yeah.
You have any go-tos, you guys, for your favorite like a comfort food horror movie?
For me, it would be a lot of the Vincent Price ones from the 60s. And, you know, the Raven Comedy of Terrors, a lot of that stuff. Even House on Haunted Hill, some of the earlier ones. And I loved, like, a lot of the Jack Arnold directed stuff from the 50s. A lot of the nuclear scare movies and stuff. It Came from Outer Space, that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm pretty much comfortable with everything up through the mid 80s, although I do see newer movies. I very rarely go back to them more than once. But,
yeah. Why do you think that is?
Because I'm old.
Yeah.
Because I'm incredibly old. I am looking at retirement coming right around the bend. So, yeah. I guess it is to a large extent. And I really love stuff in the 80s, too. I remember seeing Friday the 13th Part 3, its premiere night in Madison in 3D at the theater. And so that was great. You know, crap was coming off the screen at you and all kinds of stuff. And I loved it. And I loved the way in the 80s a lot of those movies would just let it all hang out. A lot of Fred Olen Ray's stuff, a lot of independent filmmakers. But then it kind of became more, I don't know. I don't really like my stuff that slick. Like, you know, as you've seen by our show, it's actually quite old-fashioned. And really not that fancy.
Strings and blue tape everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll put blue tape to hold anything up, and we don't care if it shows on camera. If it gets us to the next thing, we're good, you know.
Well, I mean, honestly, if I had to choose, I'd love the practical effects, obviously, over the CGI stuff. But even the stuff that you guys are doing where it's just, you know, it's got a lot of heart, you're putting it together, and you're just getting the effect out there no matter what it is. That it's got more heart and more charm to it, I think.
Yeah, I think I like it better that way too. I think it just makes it more fun altogether, you know.
Also, it kind of shows people that anybody can do it. Like a lot of stuff, if you see it and there's a lot of CGI, or even if there's a lot of green screen, a lot of people are just like, well, okay, I'm out. I can't make YouTube videos. I can't, you know, make a movie or whatever. But like, if people watch our show, they're like, well, they do stuff, so maybe I can make YouTube videos, or maybe I can make a movie, you know, like, because they can see that we're just doing it, and not everybody needs like the perfect, polished, amazing thing. Some people are just like, yeah, that's cute, I like it, great, wonderful.
Marlena's like, if we could do it, I mean, anyone could do it.
Yep. But there is a caveat. You have to be willing to have zero social life for like 15 years.
Yeah.
No, none of that now. You can't do that. You are a slave. That's it. That's all there is.
You know,
yeah.
and the thing is, it's not like we went to school to make a horror host show or to even make a television show. And I remember one time, just a couple of years ago, we were talking to a guy and he said, well, how do you do this? We described it. How do you do, well, we do that. And he's like, wow, I really appreciate your punk rock attitude. And it just kind of, I was like,
sure.
Yeah, if that's what you think. But it was just like, oh, we want to do that. We just do it. I mean, we don't, we aren't going to sit around and well, we better check in and see if anyone will let us do it. Hell no. We just do it.
What's been the most difficult aspect for you guys of pulling off the show?
Keeping it fresh for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. Like when you have been doing stuff for like 10 years or more. I don't know how long it's been, like 13 years.
You said 2009, so around 13 or 14 years.
15 next year.
I'm super bad with numbers. Yeah. You guys haven't figured that out. That's why Blake keeps saying everything with numbers. But it's just because also sometimes we redo the same movies, so it's interesting to be like, okay, this is what we did last time. We'll keep the good parts, but then we'll try to like make better parts for the parts we didn't like. So you have a chance to improve on what you did, but at the same time, you don't like want it to be stale. So.
Yeah, and to sort of kind of really explain what the show is, I guess, for people who have never seen it, because I mean, I grew up on this stuff. We had a local show, Acre Creature Feature, and in the 80s, I remember Commander USA on the USA Network. That was one of my favorite shows. But at one time, every TV market, which there's 210 of them, had a host who would host these movies. And although there's a lot of more modern ones that really overblow what a horror host show is, quite honestly, we are there to waste time. A movie is whatever that length is, and the TV's time slot is 2 hours, and there is a certain amount of commercials that run, and anything that's left over is us to waste that time so that the show takes up a 2 hour time slot. And I mean, people really overblow how important horror hosting is and all this and that. And really, I don't know, it's just kind of a fun thing, but it's not this great artistic.
Let me stop you right there. Okay, I got an idea for you. Let's workshop this. All right. We keep it in the theme of a horror show. Now, what you're talking about here is you're wasting time. What you're really talking about is you're killing time. So you can have a whole segment where you guys are the time killers.
The time killers. But then we would have to be, doing violent things.
That one's for free.
And, I mean.
I like clocks.
I really do. Timey Tim is everybody's favorite
like
clock.
how could you possibly hurt Timey Tim? He tries to help you all the time.
That's what he says. all I do is see. You guys see that? Yeah, you know what I see? I see that.
There you go.
Well, he wants to let it all hang out there for you.
See, and then we can also do things on the show where we read alternate books on the show. Like, oh man, I'm going to read Horace H. Hoover, okay? But we hold it this way so you can see the full page Midnight Mausoleum ad on the back of it.
Very nice.
Or if it's me, I just open the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm nice sometimes.
And then you do it in 3D.
Oh yeah, totally. I got the effect. It's like
there you go.
Coming right out of the screen. The beam pads. Is any tips on starting up a show? Obstacles to avoid?
The front of her car.
Yeah, as Elvira said, the front of her or my car. Obstacles, you're going to find your obstacles. You don't need us to tell you what your obstacles are going to be, because if there are some, they will be glaring and you will find them. Also, if it's like something you're trying to do and you're like, this is not working, if you just are like, I hate this, it's not worth to keep doing it. Move on to something you actually enjoy doing.
But the thing I guess I would say is now, just do it start off making maybe short things,
Yeah,
just
the
like
little
little
short
short
things.
skits.
Yeah.
You upload those and you can kind of build a following. The one thing I will say not to do is get involved in feuds with horror hosts, because
Yeah,
for
just don't do
whatever
that.
reason,
What now?
horror hosts, there's hundreds of.
I shouldn't be surprised, but wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, whoa. I mean, being a comic guy, I'm sure this totally
how
comes
this
out of
works.
left field for you.
Yeah, everybody gets along in the comic industry. It's like a big kumbaya circle, and we hug all the time, and we're friendly, and we support each
But
other.
occasionally there are feuds between hosts for whatever reason. Yeah, again, it's not that anything any of us does is that important. And then they try to get people on their side,
Yeah, like they're like,
or people against the
Wow.
other person.
yeah, and it's like, why
I
are you
had
guys
no
doing this?
idea.
It's like your show.
And so, yeah, we just are like, we're just
No.
over here doing a show, just running our own race. Whatever y'all want to do is fine.
Look at that. Look
Our
at that.
racetrack has chips. It's better.
Yeah, we have chips and salsa on our racetrack, so we're good.
We're happy.
Man, oh man. Yeah.
But yeah, that exists
that's,
in every evening. So
Yeah, I should know better at that, because it does exist in every aspect of everything. I'm sure that there's people out there in the most mundane field you could possibly think of, and they have rivalries and drama, and
Like, tax professionals have rivalries.
whisper networks and whatnot, and
lawyers
people
Oh,
trying to
lawyers.
steal customers away, or yeah.
Well, you know what? You can't really steal customers away when no one's making any money.
That's
So,
true.
But the funny thing is, yeah, we literally started our show with a Christmas bonus I got, and we built sets in our basement, the first sets that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, there are certain hosts who, for whatever reason, it's their jam to say what corporate ogres we are just because we're on regular television. And I just find that really funny. I mean, they don't know that I know they say that, but I do know they do,
we are incredibly sneaky.
it has come to us from whatever, and I'm just like, so just know who your friends are, know who your friends aren't, and be decent to everybody. But, run your own race, just like you have to. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no better way to do it, I got a couple more questions for you guys, but we're going to take a quick break right here. Everybody, you guys are watching Comic Book Radio, episode 44. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. Tonight we've got Blake Powell and Marlena MIDNITE from MIDNITE Mausoleum. We're going to be right back, just a minute or so. Everybody stay put. Don't go anywhere. See you guys in a minute. Welcome back. So I'm really wondering here, when it comes to running the show, in terms of who gets to decide the films that are going to be played and all that kind of stuff, the skits that are going to be played out as well and written up and all of that, what process is that like?
Chaos?
Yeah,
I mean,
and for us, it's
chaos.
For us, it's a couple different ways. Sometimes the station has a package, like last year.
Mm-hmm.
They had almost all the films, other than like 8 of them, were all part of a package. So they actually took care of that. We take the movies, take the length of it, watch it, and then we know our 2-hour time slot, how much commercials goes in it, and then the rest is ours. But at least half the time, I'd say almost 3/4 of the time, we're doing movies that we just pick ourselves, and they have to be ones that we can get. There's a couple distributors we can get stuff relatively cheap where they're public domain and you don't have to pay royalties on them.
Yeah.
But you do have to get a clean print of the movie. And that takes a lot more thought on our part, because not only are we trying to decide what we're going to do with the movie, we're trying to decide what the movie is actually going to be, period, and then we got it started.
There's a lot of, okay, we're going to watch this movie and see if we can actually show it, because there have been some that it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. In the first 50 minutes, you're like, oh no, okay, that is not going on TV, okay.
By the time I get done putting black boxes on this and cutting it down, it's going to be about 20 minutes. What are we going to do for the next hour?
Yep, nope, not that one, move on. But there are some too that you just watch and you're like, that was too boring. And if I'm saying it's too boring, that is bad. That's too boring. Nobody's going to want to watch that.
Some of them really benefit from commercials.
Yeah, commercials help a lot because it breaks up everything.
So in terms of, I mean, do you guys want to name names? Like what were some of the worst ones that didn't make the cut, or one of the worst ones?
Oh boy.
I can tell you ones that we'd like to show but can't. One is we can show but won't. Vampire Happening.
Oh yeah.
Which is a lot of fun.
Happening. Okay.
But there is so much nudity in it. It's like
no. Be too much editing.
I mean, Lady Frankenstein had its share of nudity.
And
we did that. That was really good, though.
What's the one with the girl who's jiggle dancing all over the place from the 70s, and we had to like obscure her jiggling bits?
Yeah. You guys played Three's Company on the show?
No, we don't. What was that though? It was either The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave,
that one.
But it's also, I think, the same person you're thinking of is.
It's not the one with the waxy
Erica
face.
Blanc.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
I have a really bad memory, in case you haven't picked up on that yet. I really have memory problems.
It's the redhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I pick up on the weirdest things. He'll say something about a movie. I'm like, is that the one with the dog? And he's like, oddly, yes. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and that movie is actually Battle of the Worlds.
Yes.
And I was trying to tell her, I'm like, no, it's the one that's got these flying saucers and it's got the old grouchy scientist and everything. She's like, is that the one with the dog? Which, like, in the last 30 seconds of it, the dog walks up and he's sad because the guy's dead.
Yes, the dog was really sad.
Spoiler alert for like a 50-some-year-old movie.
What have you done?
But,
do you find it's difficult with those old movies because of the fact that, like, there's movies out there that are rated G and they had nudity in them? You know, up until like the 80s.
I can fix that with modern technology, really.
Yeah.
So I'll put a black box over boobs occasionally, or I will often insert a commercial break where I'm going to pull a whole segment out of a movie, and then when you come back, you didn't notice it was missing because it's not contiguous to what you saw before.
What was the most difficult movie for you guys to get a hold of? Could you think of one?
Really,
with, like, any red tape, or maybe the fee was too much or anything like that?
I mean, if the fee's too much, we just don't do that movie.
Yeah.
If the station gets a movie and the fee's too much, that's on them and they have to pay it regardless.
Yeah.
Most of the movies that we show but that we don't get to put on Blu-ray or DVD, we talk directly with the people who produce the movie. So we have like relationships with them pre-existing because we just love their stuff. So we're like, hey, we love your stuff, we have a show. And then if they're into it, they're like, yeah. And if they're not, they're like, no. And we just respect that.
Because a lot of these were made in the 80s and there's still very active rights around them, So, like, I remember The Deadly Spawn. We just asked Ted Boas and he let us do it. And Fred Olin Ray occasionally lets us do some of his movies. So we actually did Scalps. And his only thing that he wanted was for us to send him the newspaper clipping of the TV guide that showed we actually played scalps on an ABC affiliate.
Prove it.
Yeah, because there's a couple scenes that were really graphic and nude and everything. And I got it cut, made it work. And he's like, well, you did it. Right after Dog the Bounty Hunter, there it was, right on the TV listing. So
he's probably got that little cutout right on the fridge.
Yeah, there you go.
Hopefully.
But yeah, there's been a number of ones where we get our permission directly from the producer.
So when you got the whole show together, you've picked the film, you've got your skits put together. About how long does that take? What's that process like? Are you guys flying at the seat of your pants, or is this stuff really scheduled out in advance and you've got a whole set load of stuff to do?
Well, we make a schedule and we're really excited about it. And then something comes up and we can't. So then we make another schedule and then we're really excited about it. And we're like, okay, we're going to do the thing. And then something else comes up and then we can't. And we've been going to shoot since April.
Yeah, the lighting and everything is all adjusted. We're ready to go. We're going to do this before it got hot this summer. It is now about 92 degrees outside right now.
And the building we shoot in is concrete and brick. It really loves to hold on to heat.
Yeah, it loves to heat up and keep radiating the heat. So
wow.
But yeah, again, things just kept coming up. But usually we'll crash tape 6 episodes at a time. So in general, for like a fall season, like 12 or 13 weeks, we'll shoot the whole thing over the course of a month. And that's usually only just on weekends and maybe one weeknight. So, but we'll usually crash tape 6 episodes at a time.
Wow, it's remarkable how similar it is to publishing. You got all the schedule, you got the things you want to do, and then there's always something that prevents you from doing it when you want to do it.
It's kind of
doing it at
where
all.
If something doesn't go wrong, you're like, what's wrong?
What's wrong?
Nothing went wrong.
You're just waiting. It doesn't feel right.
I'm more scared that it didn't go. Yeah.
It's like a big a karmic pitfall about to occur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Marlena, what was one of your I guess you could say a couple of them, but your fondest memories of the show?
Fondest memories of the show. Well,
anything that stands out?
This sounds really bad.
In a good
way.
But
as we just went over, I have a terrible memory. Like when I say that I have a terrible memory, there are medical papers about why my short-term and long-term memory don't work great. So I really, really have fun doing the show, but I can't really pick out favorite parts of it. I just remember it being fun. I like when we're done and we get to go eat pizza because I really like pizza. But like certain episodes are more fun to shoot because you get to go do stuff. Like I remember one, we drove like an hour and a half away so we could shoot one thing. It was for Rattlers. We did the movie Rattlers. So we went to this old quarry where now it's hiking trails, and I just stood out there and I'm like, here I am, I'm hiking. And then there was another one where we went to some really scary thing with stairs on the side of a cliff because it looks like something in Europe, and I was terrified I was going to fall off the side of the cliff because 10 people a year fall off that cliff. So it was really scary, but it was really fun because I didn't die. So that's cool.
You really aren't supposed to go down there anymore, but we know a way to get around the end of the fence. I always answer that question with when we first started, and it was awesomely fun.
Well, yeah, everything's always fun right when you start it, and it's not
because the thing is, when you're doing it and nobody has even seen it yet, you are 100% free.
The bar's on the floor. You don't have to worry about it.
And
there's a freedom to obscurity.
Yes, and once you become aware that people are watching it, it's like, I don't know if we should do that or not. And it's like, we would have never said that in the beginning.
To be fair, the only time I ever say that was when it comes to bonus segments. I'm like, you sure we can call the station, ask if we can put that on there because Bliss has a mouth. It's hilarious. But there have been a couple times where the station's like, okay, I can't believe we have to say this, but you can't say this, you can't do this, you can't say this, you can't do that, and you certainly cannot do this. And it's like, well, okay, we knew all that. Like,
I have super hilarious emails, and this is great because people from the station are watching this.
hi, people from the station.
So I have a super hilarious email from a couple years ago where I asked him if we could use the term ripping fat lines of Coke in an episode if it was coming out of a skeleton. It's a puppet skeleton, and he's talking about Supermarket Sweep.
He doesn't even have a
Says
nose.
the person who came up with Supermarket Sweep was sitting there ripping fat lines of Coke and thought it was a good idea. And I'm just rolling on the floor. I think it's so funny. And I cut the whole episode together, and I'm getting ready to send it. And I'm like, well, can we say ripping fat lines of Coke on our show? And then the programmer sent it to the manager, and he sent an email back listing things we could not do. And that's like classic material there, you know. But so I did bleep out the word Coke. He says ripping fat lines of bleep, and I think
That way it's even worse because it could be anything.
yes, exactly.
I was just gonna say.
You can left to your own imagination, but it's just one of those things. But there's a lot of stuff. I like it whenever we do anything that's a little different than what we've done before. We still continue to come up with new characters, and those are always fun to do. We're thinking about maybe this fall adding news segments for no reason whatsoever.
We used to have news segments.
Yeah, because it won't be based on real news at all. It's just
We just
we're
make
gonna
up
make
random
up.
things.
So,
Very nice. I mean, hey, why not? That's what they do at the actual news media.
yeah, well, there you go.
What's the news today? I don't know. Make something up. General Piggy, thank you for the super chat. Says, are you ever going to put together another box set collection of your show again?
Do you mean the current one that we already make, or do you mean make a new one with further things?
With further things, I would imagine. Because there's one called Premature Burial that literally has everything we did for the first 4 or 5 years. And geez, it was like $300 or $400 box.
But the reason we don't have those in the shop is because we make them in our garage and it's been too hot.
We literally,
We make
they're
each
handmade
box.
wooden boxes, and then she actually
wow.
put the transfer on the lid
Yeah.
that looks like a Ouija board.
But the transfers,
Ouija.
the transfers don't like hot. It gets weird and it gets all crumpled up. So there's like a very specific
Yeah.
temperature range. So they pop up from time to time, but we might make a new
We
one.
built some in the spring and we built some in the fall.
Yeah.
But then as far as new stuff, yeah, I never thought of that. I mean, we could collect it together and get some kind of box, but
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, I mean, you guys were really generous enough to send me these.
oh yeah.
Really
You
appreciate
need to know what you were
it.
talking about, we thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, look at that. And then there's some extra swag. Here's
yeah.
from Marlena's days of playing minor league ball.
Yep. I feel kind of guilty because they asked me to throw out the first pitch, but since I'm a really panicky person, I'm like, no, I cannot. I need like 6 weeks in advance to practice. I can't do that. I'm sorry.
I need 6 weeks to practice and hire someone else to do it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some stickers as well.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. Thank you guys.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Yeah. Do you guys? I'm guessing you do. You have a website where you sell all this stuff.
Yeah. And it's just
MidniteMausoleum.com.
MidniteMausoleum.com.
Ah, nice and easy to find it. Look at
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
It used to be more complicated, but everybody was confused, so we just tried to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, we
Nice.
realized there was no reason to have an actual website. We just
Yeah.
needed a store. You
So
know?
now we just have to.
Because everything else is done on social media, you know, the pictures, any of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stuff we just put on social media. There's no reason to have a real website for it.
Hey, look at that. You guys just got a sale for Vampire Happening.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate it. I will send it out tomorrow with my own 2 weird hands.
We don't have vampire. It just means for the movie.
Somebody because you guys were mentioning about Vampire Happening.
All the nudity in it.
Oh,
Yes.
nudity.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they
There's
must
a
have just
lot.
went and ordered that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But yeah, so you guys can go to MIDNITEMausoleum.com and go and pick up an array of things. I even got this beautiful T-shirt here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it fits great. It's
Yay!
awesome. Good quality shirt.
We were like,
You know, when
okay.
you're gonna surprise someone with
Yeah,
a
we're
shirt,
like,
there is often like a. So we're like stalking videos of you trying to figure out what size, because we've got everything from small to 4X. in
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
shirt.
I'm a large, but I like the XL in the summer,
Yeah,
especially.
I
Gives me
wondered
some
about
room to
that.
breathe.
So we're looking at the one where you're stomping the comic book package to prove how well you package them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't know, man. Pete don't look like a big guy. I mean, yeah.
I was like, he's got comic box arms, but that's because he's lifting comic boxes.
Yeah, there you
So,
go.
I don't know. You know, cut off the sleeves if they're too tight. It'll be fine.
Yeah. No, it fits nice and breezy and roomy.
Yeah, cool.
Perfect for the summer.
Good.
But it fits to. I'm guessing it fits
Great.
the size because this fits like any other XL would fit on me. So I'm guessing that if you guys do want to go and order a shirt, I know a lot of the time people go, is it a little small, is it a little big? This is pretty on average, exactly what you'd expect it to be. Lon Anderson is saying Countess Spookula.
Oh yeah, sure, you betcha. Cheese and crackers.
Yeah, Countess Spookula is from Upper Minnesota. So, and it's just another character that she does on the show.
I was actually going to say, in reference to the shirts, if you guys are curious and you're really like, I need to know exactly how like big or small they are, if you send a message through the website, I can do a flat lay measurement for you, like, because I can just come to here and I can measure things for you and tell you exactly how big they are when they're like laid flat on something, so then you can measure and make sure it's the same as your shirt that you like.
Yeah, because we actually have them printed and then stock them and send them right from our office. We don't do the online whatever thing that other people do.
It's all me.
Yeah.
Wow.
We do it the
nice.
old-fashioned way. She does it.
I do it.
Yeah.
It's me.
So there you go.
There you go. Indeed. Wow, you guys got a glow in the dark shirt too, huh?
Uh-huh.
I think we do.
I think we still have a few left, yeah.
Very nice. Go pick that up. Before we get into another quick break, I do want to ask Marlena one thing. What was the inspiration for Countess Spookula?
So, when we started the show, I'm a pretty quiet, introverted, shy person. This is not anything I should ever be doing, by the way. But so when we started, it was really hard for me. I couldn't really do anybody except for myself. For like the first 8 or 9 years of the show, I was just being myself, and that's why my character evolved along with me, because it was just my actual personality growing as a person. But now that I've been doing it for so long as there aren't big groups of people, I can actually do kind of like more funny, like acting sort of things. So I just thought it'd be really funny if, rather than just like having me as a horror host, we kind of tapped into the multiverse and we kind of saw some other variants of me in different time periods doing different horror hosty things, because horror hosting has been around since the 50s, so that gives me a lot of time to work with.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, we just decided, what would it be if you had an 80s horror host from a small town
in Minnesota.
And so we just took it from there.
Do you have any clips where she can't make it into work because she's snowed in?
She's
doing it from home.
We do say that she had to ride the snowmobile a couple times.
There you go. Man, oh man. All right, we're going to be taking a quick break. This one's just about 30 seconds, and they'll be right back. And then I'm going to put the link in the chat for you guys if you want to come on in here and if you got a question or comment for Blake or Marlena. See you in 30 seconds. All right, welcome back. The link is in the chat right now, so if you guys want to jump on in, if you got a question or comment for my guest tonight, not for me, for my guests, please feel free to join the show. Otherwise, if you guys want to stay in the chat, you don't want to join, or you can't join, feel free to ask your questions there too. Lon is also saying we need more Janie fever.
Are you familiar with WKRP in Cincinnati? The old TV show?
Yeah. Johnny
Fever.
Fever.
Dr. Johnny Fever.
Is this a gender bent?
Yeah. Yep. But same clothes and everything. Same hoodie, same T-shirt, same coffee mug.
Nice. Yeah, I love Johnny Fever.
Yeah.
I'd like Janie Fever too.
There'll be more Janie Fever this fall.
Have you guys ever run into any complications with coming up with these characters and pulling them off?
No.
Not really.
Because if we're bad at it, we're just bad at it and we don't do it again.
Yeah, I guess if we...
Any of them just crash and burn completely that people want to see more Countess Spookula and more Janie Fever, but any ones that they're like, please don't ever do that again.
No, not that people have said to our face, but we're both kind of scary people, so...
So then, who knows?
Who knows?
We just keep doing what we want and assume it's working, but maybe it isn't.
Oh, okay. I figured maybe you'd get a couple vocal people that were like, I don't really know about that one.
We just get vocal people about the show as a whole, and like, I'm going to hell, I'm a terrible person, etc., etc.
Oh, wow.
My soul is eternally damned, etc.
Interesting.
And it's like, okay, that's fine.
Any
Just
reason
don't worry
in
about me.
particular? Anything that you did or said or showed?
I threw them into furious fits of masturbation. I have no idea, honestly. Our show is pretty much G-rated. Like, this is way less G-rated than our show right now.
There's probably a half a
Marlena.
dozen no contact orders going
Marlena.
around.
What was that, Marlena?
It was so poisoning.
Furious fits of what now? Okay then.
I said prestidigitation.
Yes, she was talking about magicians. For goodness sake.
Oh, okay.
Mastication, they were chewing too much. I don't know.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. In the chat, I think you guys heard what I heard, but I'll let that fly. So what happened? I have to know what would happen in particular, because I can't imagine why would someone want to watch the show if they're just that irate and upset at you, and then they need to tell you that.
Three things that I can. One, we got one complaint because Bones the Skeleton told little kids to put flaming bags of poop on people's doorsteps for Halloween. We got a very upset Christian person who said that was terrible and that we should not be doing that. But that was like way back in the day.
That was in the way early days. So that letter came from Newmarket, New Hampshire.
Yeah, somewhere up there.
And didn't appreciate the flaming bags of poop.
There is
I
another
hope it's
lady.
from a dog, right?
Yeah, I think he said dog. I think he said dog poop, but I don't remember. It was so long ago. There is a lady who every 4 or 5 years will send an email about how I am a talentless hack and how I shouldn't be on TV and I should do anything else. And it's just like these weird, and I'm like, why are you so upset right now? Just stop watching.
But didn't we figure out that that's that lady who is actually this creepy guy, John from Muscatine?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. She just doesn't need to watch if she doesn't like me. There are so many other channels you could be watching at that time slot. There's so many other
and we are such
Hello.
slap shot hacks when we do the show.
Yeah.
Are they watching right now? Are they here? Hello.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I have no idea.
But they think we do the show live, that it isn't pre-taped, because whatever happens. We very rarely do a retake on anything. And if something falls over, we're like, well, good enough. And we just move on to the next thing.
It's part of the fun.
Yes, it's part of the charm, we think.
The last thing is I will randomly get those little books about why I should become more religious, etc., etc.
I
get those in little envelopes, but that's been a thing through my whole life. Like, people used to give them to me as tips when I was a waitress, and I'm like, thanks. I'll just stick this over here. But really, we don't get a lot of hate. Most of it is just people having a really bad day. And it's like, why are you having such a bad day right now? And they're like, this. And it's like, oh, well, I'm sorry. That sucks for you.
And if they send stuff through the mail or whatever, we just screenshot it and send it to the police or the station. You guys can do whatever.
You guys deal with that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? I don't think you guys ever got a dark matter lamp, have you? Because I have.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. We got a shrunken head in the box, but like the guy brought it and gave it to us in person, and it's an art installation, so it's cool.
It's beautiful.
I've said this before. Now, we had some really weird things happen after we got the dark matter lamp here. And it wasn't really a lamp. It was this weird black little tiny bulb. And then it was attached to stuff that looked like old bicycle parts that were just like immersed in dirt. All right.
Okay.
Other than that, and it was just shoved into a priority. It was so concerning. I took it back to the post office and I showed them what I got delivered to me with the weird letter with all the schematics and this is how it works and this is what it'll do and all these other things, right? So the post office, my post office calls up that post office and says, what's going on with this? Why is this person sending this stuff to this individual? And that post office goes, oh, that guy does that like, a couple times a month at the start of the month. He'll just send random things out to random companies. And they know it. They packed it for him.
Oh, well, I mean, at least it's not
dude could be like the next Unabomber or something, and the post office thinks it's cute. They're like, oh yeah, he brings in his crack pipe and his bicycle parts, and we just shove it in the priority mailer. And send it along its way.
Office must be a lot nicer than ours because if my box is even kind of bulged, they're like, take it out of here. Get out of here.
Our post office is great, but that post office where they were sending it from is insane. That's crazy.
Oh.
And they're like, he comes in here every month and he does that. They thought it was hilarious. I'm like, but we had really weird. The whole thing had some weird energy, and then we had weird stuff happen that weekend. I threw it out on Sunday. And then the weird energy around here stopped. Like my computer completely crashed. I had to reboot it from scratch. I lost like a bunch of files. And then we had weird stuff occur in here ever since that thing came in the house. And then and I mean, hey, it seems coincidental. I'm not really one to believe in coincidences on that level. But we had like 4 or 5 really weird things. Strange electrical occurrences. Electronics wouldn't work. It was strange. But all it looked like was this weird garbage put inside of a priority mail box.
Wow.
Our mailers are generally really awesome, so they just send us really cool stuff.
Yeah, we do get really cool surprises in the mail.
Now that people figured out I like cuddly things like sweaters and socks, I get a lot of sweaters and socks, which is A+. It's amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah, I usually get very nice things from alternative readers. This wasn't an alternative reader. They were randomly sending things. They were going down the alphabet of companies they could find to send things to their mail addresses.
Well, and they didn't get very far.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, they only got into the A's. So.
Let's see. Jeff says Wilfred and Marlena are the greatest comedy duo of the 20th century.
That's all over it. I just stand there and I fall over laughing generally.
There you go. Well, and hey, it worked for a lot of comedy acts out there. Pete Engstrom says, I've been subscribed to the Midnight Mausoleum since discovering the show through the alternative forums. Love it. Lots of fun. Long live horror hosts.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's great.
Yeah. And if you guys, again, want to join the show, we got about maybe 15 to 20 more minutes. There's the link if you want to pop in with a question or comment for Blake or Marlena. Something else I wanted to ask you guys. Now, when you have the show and you're putting everything together and you've got your season and you've got all the lists of episodes, right? Mm-hmm. Now, do you ever look back at certain ones and go, that episode seemed familiar to the other episode that we did? Are there any episodes ever that you feel like we kind of copied some of the stuff we did and we didn't even realize it?
No.
I only ask because I've seen other horror hosts do that. Like I've watched some of them enough where I'm like, this is like the same joke. It's even sometimes the same movie with the same jokes, but it's absolutely a different episode.
We really try hard not to do that. Sometimes we'll include older stuff, but we usually put like a little, asterisk telling what date it was from. It's
Oh, nice,
from
like
the
an
archive.
editor's note in a comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
we'll be like, this is from whatever, when we showed this before, because we do reuse movies. But we don't really recycle jokes. On occasion, Wolford will have to recycle a joke. There's only so many cornball jokes you can find that are clean.
Actually, all his jokes are recycled, so they're just, yeah, he does his thing, and he is not the best at what he does, but he thinks he's the best, and that's what makes it awesome. So
Yeah, that's like it's a part of the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's good too.
hey, one of the things I wanted to jump in is about the comic we're working on, and it's mainly because I wanted to plug the artist.
We need to
who's
showcase
working
his
on it.
work.
Yeah.
Because he
does
get
not.
enough love.
And we need
Absolutely.
to. We will help.
Let me put you
When did
guys
we
on
first-
full screen.
Okay.
I'm guessing
really?
you're gonna show
That's
you're gonna
terrifying.
show art.
Yeah, we've got a few things here.
Very nice.
I don't remember when we first got this, but there was an artist who sent a book he had already done, actually a couple of them, to the show.
Show everybody the book.
And his name is Tim Amar.
Our lights are too shiny.
And yes, our lights are way too shiny, but hopefully you can see that pretty good. And this is his book that he did called Alien Science.
Do you want me to hold it with my creepy hands?
Yeah, sure. You're good at that. Which is like an homage to EC comics, especially. And he does really great work. And then the beginning of
It's really
just
cool.
before COVID hit, we had
Very nice.
decided we were going to make a Midnight Mausoleum
I
comic
especially like this one.
with him.
These lights.
Yeah.
Not conducive for art. That's why things need
So-
to be on
If it was,
newsprint.
newsprint looks great
Yeah.
with those
So
lights
we
still.
printed off some of the stuff he did just to kind of show you. And this is colored by us, and we are really no more official than that because we both know how to halftone on the iPad
Mhm.
using Procreate. And this is what he has done for the eventual Midnight Mausoleum comic, which will be some point next year.
Yay!
Hey, there's
Hi,
Tim.
there you are. We're so excited.
Yes,
There
very
he
much
is in the chat.
Everybody go support Tim.
This one, by the way, is kind of unique because once you print them out and you look at it, we realize the sky in this is totally the wrong color we didn't want. So it will never look like this again. We've already gone in and
Oh, man.
changed the sky in 3 of the panels. We just haven't done the 4th yet. And these
Yeah,
are not in order, so
very
there's
nice.
no context. I'm not spoiling the story.
Yeah, it's not in order at all.
But yeah, I mean, just fantastic stuff. And then it's all,
It's half-toned.
half-tone colors, so that should come, like I said, that's something we're looking forward to doing next year. But Tim does fantastic stuff and does not plug himself nearly enough.
So we'll do it for
that's
you.
what we're doing.
Where can we find you, Timmy? Are you on Instagram or Twitter, or you got a website? Where can people find you? Put that up in the chat, because since he's right there.
Yeah, that's handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, very nice stuff. It looks great. It really does. And you said you guys are coloring it, both of you, or just one of you, or?
We have an iPad that sits in the living room, and whoever feels like doing it at the time does it, because we both know how to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll go in, and so I guess, yeah, technically it's both of us. Now the sky recoloring, since I knew I was the one who screwed it up the first time around, I'm redoing that myself. But we literally just have a folder with a bunch of color formulas scribbled on this folder that
Yeah.
we keep our charts in. And as I was going in, for some reason I screwed it up. I used a heavier blue line than I needed because the skies are actually lines rather than dots.
Oh, okay.
So I just went in and undid and redid it, because once we printed them out, yeah, you really got to print them out pretty big to spot everything you screwed up. I picked like 3 or 4 things. I'm like, oh, I got to change that. Got to change that.
And the printer was like, shut up. I'm out of ink now.
Yeah, our printer, it's mad at us now. It's like, give me ink or I'll kill you. So,
Is it does it print CMYK? Is it one of those like an Epson printer?
Yeah, it's a Pixma.
Yeah, it's a Pixma Mark II.
Oh, Pixma,
It's one of the really big format ones. So it's nice because it has like the 9 inks instead of like, But the problem is, since it has those 9 inks, it's like, oh, you're out of CMYK, but you have all these other colors. It's like, no, because then you got to go and you got to like get the CMYK pack, which is way more expensive because they think if you're using CMYK that you're definitely using it for work, and it's like kind of. But
and when we thought of printing those up just to show on here, we just only had the cheapest crap paper in the world. So you know how it is when you put it on there. First, the colors are going to go all dingy on you, and your dots are going to spread on you and everything. And so,
it works really good though.
But I'm looking at
it looks pretty good.
I love that look.
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably a thicker paper stock than newsprint. So.
Oh yeah, it could be.
Yeah, newsprint's like a 35 pound. Most, I'm guessing that's just regular copy paper. Most of that's 50 pound. Let's see. Now,
it's regular.
Where this is comic book radio, we have 10 minutes left. I have to talk to you guys about comic books. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We wrote stuff.
I'm guessing both of you guys are comic book fans, correct? What are some of your favorites, and where did you get started?
Okay. First off, everyone has to answer this question individually. What was the first comic book you ever bought? And for me, it was Amazing Spider-Man 146, where you got the Scorpion menacing Aunt May in the hospital bed and Spider-Man swinging outside the window. And what was yours?
It was Dawn, the Joe Lindsay book. Because I had gone into a store to get something completely different and they were out of it, so I just got that and I really liked it. And then I think I also got She the same day because it was just like
Billy Tucci,
Yeah, we just saw him on here the other night. She's like, hey,
wait a minute.
yeah, he's a buddy. Yeah, Billy's great.
What was your first comic book you ever bought off the rack?
The first one I ever personally bought was probably, and this wasn't the first one I had, not by a long shot, but the first time my parents... See, I got a really weird story with this. So, there was a shop, and I don't know if you guys remember, because they were kind of a chain. It was called Heroes World. If you don't remember it, probably people in the chat do. Now, Heroes World was in a strip mall where I used to live as a kid. And even though there was a Superman on the door and a couple other superheroes, my mom was always like, why do you want to go to Heroes World? All they have is sandwiches. And that's a true story. It took 2 years. 2 years. And I'm like, I'm like 5, and I'm like, all they have is sandwiches. I'm like, there's like superheroes on the door. And every time we would pass by, she's like, Peter, they just have sandwiches there. I'm like, and then when I'm older, I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, what? So my mom thought that Heroes World, like a hero.
Like the sandwich, the delicious sandwich.
Yeah. So by the time one day I finally, convinced her to just go there because they have these characters on there, because I'd see him out the window as we pass on the way home. And I'm like, they have Superman on the door, they have, Spider-Man's in the window, all that stuff, right? And the funny part is my mom is the person who got me into comics, because she would bring home a comic when she used to work in the city in New York, and it was a convenience store by her, and she would just pick up a couple. So I had like Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular, I had a couple X-Men issues, a couple of Fantastic Four and Superman. So I was like well familiar with a lot of these characters by the time we moved to where we moved, and I was like 6 or 7, and I saw this shop. And finally I go in the shop and I convince her to just take me there. And I was like, they have superheroes. Just go and see it, And so I picked out Silver Surfer number 50. And Silver Surfer number 50 of the second volume, because of the fact that I liked the shiny cover. I remember it had like it was a silver embossed cover. He was versing Thanos or whatever, and he was coming like right at the cover. And I was like 7, and I was like, oh, shiny. So that's where my like $2 or something went at that point in time. But so that was the first one I had ever bought, because I looked at all the older ones and there was no way I was gonna get those, because even though first appearance even of Wolverine was like $75 at the shop, looking back, it's like, man, I wish, there was no way in hell my mom was gonna give me $75 for a comic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first one that I had ever bought. But the first one that I ever remember reading, and I still have all my comics as a kid, even though some of them don't have covers, was a Spectacular Spider-Man issue. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was one with Captain America and Tarantula are punching out Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's kind of falling backwards. It was a Sal Buscema art. And they're kind of teaming up on Spider-Man. And I still have it to this day. And sometimes I show it on a stream, but I color in like the eyes of Spider-Man with the blue pen. And, I thought that Spider-Man should have had blue eyes.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, I mean, we're both fans of that, and then eventually till we had a store from 2010 through 2014 that we just let the lease lapse because it was right when we were starting to do the show on regular television. And so we just, and not only that, Diamond was probably the biggest problem with having a comic store.
We share your disdain for Diamond.
Yeah, and here's the other thing about Diamond, and this is when you know you're going to leave a business. I'm driving in my car. It's on Tuesday. The new books come out on Wednesday. All of a sudden, there is a huge freaking news story on the national news network on the radio. Oh, Robin dies in this issue of Batman. And it's oh, thanks, Diamond. We got 2 of those coming. Because every dork who's never read a comic book in his life is going to come in and buy that. If you would have told me that and I knew all the skis bags were going to come in, I would have
especially where they think it's
$200.
probably Dick Grayson, and yeah.
And it's going to be worth a lot of money, Jeez. So that's the moment when I'm like, I'm done with this. This is stupid. Diamond is the most horrible, detrimental thing to the comic industry. So.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Styles says, I love the show and also would love a premature burial box set of the earlier stuff. Barring that comeback, would it be possible to get a Thaddeus Bones retrospective DVD?
I mean,
that is something I've thought of. We do have a Bones shirt design that we've never printed yet.
We really need to.
That we really need to. And
hopefully the shirt place near us will get open soon. We had to switch shirt
printers. Yeah.
So hopefully the one they're still building their building, but we're hoping that they'll get open soon so we can start making more new shirts, because as I'm sure people who are familiar have noticed, we haven't made a new shirt in a while. It's because the place that was making our shirts just got crazy. It got real weird and crazy, so we just have to wait until these other people we know get their shirt shop going, and then we can give them all our shirt orders.
Is it like a supply chain issue thing that occurred with them?
It's
or something else?
No, it's kind of the way they do their business thing.
Yeah.
It really became, if you didn't order, 500 or 1,000, they just really don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
We don't do that.
We don't. We'll order like 144 a lot of times.
Yeah, that's crazy. If anything, you've got all these T-shirt companies nowadays popping up that are like, hey, we do small orders.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. Well, good luck to them. If you guys do need a shirt manufacturer recommendation, I'll give you one after the show.
Yeah,
Thanks.
okay. Sure.
Yeah, no problem. Also, let's see. Tom Styles asks, will Midnight Mausoleum be back on the convention circuit this year?
Probably never
Probably
again.
not.
Yeah, we just don't.
That's how I
It
feel.
creates an incredible amount of crap.
Also, I will say, and this is not something I talk about very much, when I go to conventions, I'm sick for a week or two after every single convention we do. So it takes up a lot of time because I can't do stuff while I'm sick.
We literally used to put that in the schedule where we know I'm going to be off 2 days before and 2 days after a convention. So I'm going to burn 4 days off of work. And then she'll be sick for a week after the convention or whatever. And we were just like, you know, when 2019 came around, we were like, no better time to quit, because it's like, you know what, we just make a TV show. You know, it's not like the whole world's going to collapse if somebody doesn't. You know?
And I do miss seeing people that we know are fans of the show, but there's not any reason that you can't, like, sometimes message us if you're going to be around where we are and be like, hey, do you guys want to grab a Happy Joe's or something? Because, you know, usually if we're both around, we'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, we do have some pretty regular people that when they come to town, they'll let us know when they're going to be here, and we'll just, you know.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about conventions nowadays too.
Well,
even
it would be interesting now without the stars there, because they changed a lot from when we first started, like how people have talked about San Diego. It used to be a lot of vendors and there was stuff, but then when it became just nothing but autographs for $100 and whatever dollars.
Yeah, see, I have a bad feeling about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're experiencing a lull at San Diego right now because San Diego is a very expensive show to get in, and then also on top of it, a lot of these people are sent there as to promote whatever it is that's going on. So that show, I think, for this year, kind of experienced a once in a lifetime lull. Now, if this stuff is to continue, what's going to happen is you're going to see more people than ever before flooding those conventions, because they're going to go, well, if I'm not going to get a gig here and there like I was getting before, I'm going to do the convention circuit, and I'm going to be everywhere I possibly can be. And those convention people that run the shows, they're going to go, well, yeah, you know, they'll bring in people, so I'll just give them a free table, and you know, so they get free tables, and then everybody else has to pay higher prices and, you know, higher table prices as well, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we're not exactly hopping to go to do that.
Yeah. There's like it's like a whole weird thing. But then the other good part about it is I'm seeing a lot of shows start to be on the rise in terms of just being comic conventions and not having celebrities, and having, you know, the comics, the creators, Artist Alley basically is the whole show. And then you know, so that's been great too. And then the admissions are lower, so it's kind of more like these old school comic book shows. But at this point for me, I just kind of, if I go to a show, I'm just walking around, you know, and if it's a bigger show, maybe I'll bring a Sharpie or something, and if someone recognizes me, I'll sign something. But like lugging around, you know, all the boxes, and then you set the table up, and then you're chained to the table the whole weekend or whatever it may be, and I'll have to end up doing like a song and dance with people half the time just to get them to purchase a $2 comic book, and then, you know, sometimes they don't, and then I'm like, wow, I got to reconsider my entire life. You know, so it's just a very demoralizing thing. It's almost as demoralizing as trying to get retailers to pick up books. You know, it's the same kind of thing of like, can you please take 60% away from what I'm earning so I can put this on the shelf? And no one will care about it because you don't know how to sell comics to people that aren't, you know, familiar with big name brands. So the shows were great to see people who would come out to see them, but I would just go there just for that and be like, hey, I'm going to be at that show. You know, if you see me in the aisle, say hey, and that's about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Because otherwise, like this, it's a lot mentally healthier. Cause I tell you, there'll be shows too where I'm like, man, we're not doing so hot, and then I go around Artist Alley and I ask them how they're doing, and they're doing really bad, and it's a lot of just sad looking folks, you know.
Now we do have two of our regional comic stores are very awesome because they have alternate comics. That's Mellow Blue Planet in Rock Island and B-Town Comics in Burlington. And the reason I know that is because I bring them there and make them buy them from me.
You'll buy these.
Yeah, you'll buy these, or something bad is going to happen.
That is very much appreciated.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's stuff like that, you know, and yeah. So thanks to you guys and everybody else that's out there that supports independence, whether it's comic creators, horror hosts, authors, musicians, whatever it may be. Because you guys make this all possible, You know, everyone else is out there. Like we can't go on strike and demand. Like, what am I going to do? Go on strike against myself and say I demand I demand I treat myself better.
Oh, writer's strike. I can't write a Wolford joke. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. You know, instead it's like, okay, if things aren't looking too hot, well, you come up with another way to get around it, and that's kind of how it is, and that's the life of the independent. You know, so for everybody else, if anything, I think right now they should all be looking at it and going, you know, why are we begging the studios for pennies more today at the expense of dollars tomorrow and being stuck in their system? Why don't we all get together? There's a bunch of power players in Hollywood and form your own, and a couple of them already do have studios and production companies, but get away from that big studio system and option out all the independent work that's out there. There's a plethora of it between the authors and the comic creators and everything else. You know, now would be a great time for them to go, fine, you know what, we don't need you. Strike, we're leaving. See ya.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the system. It is the way it is. But thank you guys so much tonight for being a part of this. It's been a great conversation with Blake and Marlena. Anything else to say before you guys go? Maybe tell them where to find you and all that good stuff.
If you're in the Quad Cities area, you can watch us on WQAD at I don't remember the time.
I don't know. I wrote a bunch of names and numbers down.
Yeah.
But Saturday night at 10 p.m. I must have threw my notes away already. I'm like, yeah, this one's in the can. But no, Saturday nights at 10 p.m. on MyTV 8-3. Also, it'll be on Friday nights at 1:30 a.m. on the ABC affiliate WQAD News 8. On Friday nights in Buffalo, New York at 11:30, it's on WBXC 56.4. And Friday nights in York, Pennsylvania on WRCT 18, which they also stream online. So it's only some of the episodes that don't have licensed movies. And that is various times. A lot of times it's at 10 p.m. though. And then on our YouTube channel, to help placate the rabid throngs of Midnight Mausoleum fans,
we love all 50 of you.
Yes, I did put a full episode up there last week. That was just from, I think it was just about a year ago.
And we do have Blu-rays and DVDs too, if you feel like throwing like $10-15 our way.
Yep.
Very nice. Are you guys considering putting more content on the YouTube channel, like those full episodes?
Maybe once a month I'll throw like one of them up there. Honestly, if we sell one Blu-ray, that's worth about a bajillion views on YouTube. So it's not something I'm going to, stake my life on. But I'll throw one up every once in a while, just to make sure there's something new.
Yeah. Well, what you could do,
a lot of them we can't do that anyway because the movies are a licensed movie. So.
Well, that's the thing that's great about YouTube. Put that store in the links, and then you get that video on there, and then you can sell the Blu-ray through the store. I don't even monetize the videos anymore. So if you're a channel member, thank you very much. You support the channel, that's wonderful. If you give a super chat, that's great. But I'm not showing YouTube ads anymore on any of these videos. So that's why I do the whole little commercial break for all the independents out there, and we put that free of charge. If you guys also have a video you want us to show, feel free, and I'll put that in the rotation.
Yeah, I have to make a new 30-second spot. That's the last one I have is actually from last fall, so I'll make a new one in the next month or two.
Wonderful. And Jeff says, my TV 8.3. There you go. And Doug says, is there any kind of link to their store? It'd be MIDNITEMausoleum.com. I'm going to put that in the description of the show after the show. Right now I've got a link to the YouTube. You guys can go subscribe to that channel as well as soon as the show ends. Blake, Marlena, thank you guys so much. It's been a great conversation with you. Really appreciate you spending some time with me tonight, and everybody in the chat. Thank you guys as well. It's been a lot of fun. And that's about it for us. Everybody, if you enjoyed the show tonight, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, give it a thumbs down if you didn't. Don't worry, I don't really have many feelings. They won't be hurt. Whatever, right?
All right. Well, thanks for having us.
But you should give it a thumbs up because Blake and Marlena were great. Even if you don't like me, give it a thumbs up for them. And that's a good way to sneak around that. Thank you guys tonight. It was great. This was Comic Book Radio episode 44 with Marlena and Blake of Midnight Mausoleum. I'm your host Peter Cimetti, and that's it for us. Have a great night, everybody. Take it easy.